So maybe you've been doing some research on Wake Forest and you've heard a lot about the massive Heritage Wake Forest community, which is one of the Triangle area's premier master plan communities that's situated over 2,000 acres right here in the middle of the town of Wake Forest. Well, today I'm about to take you guys on a driving tour through Heritage Wake Forest, and I'm going to show you everything you ever wanted to know but were afraid to ask about Heritage. You'll see up close and personal many of the different homes here, and I'll share with you guys the very latest data on what you might expect to pay for homes in some of the main areas of Heritage. Okay, so sit tight because we're about to get started right now. Hi guys, I'm Mike Sanders with the Mike Sanders team at RE/MAX United in Raleigh. Okay, in case you didn't know, Heritage Wake Forest is a master plan community that is literally a small town within a town. Heritage is a huge community that consists of numerous smaller, unique neighborhoods, each with its own unique style of homes with price points that match nearly every type of homeowner. Today I'm going to drive through much of the community and show you guys what the styles are like here and give you some pricing and a few sales figures to give you an idea if this community might be a good fit for you. I'll point out points of interest such as schools, restaurants, retail options, and everything in between. So let's hit the road. Okay guys, first off I'm going to give you a very broad overview of Heritage Wake Forest. It's a master plan community. It consists of quite a few individual neighborhoods that make up the master plan community. There's probably 15 or so individual neighborhoods, each with their own individual design styles. They each come in different price points. There's neighborhoods that primarily consist of detached single-family homes. There's also other neighborhoods within Heritage that consist of patio homes that are more like one-story townhomes. So to keep things simple, Heritage Wake Forest is basically separated into 5 different main areas. You've got the original section of Heritage. Heritage South is one of the bigger areas of Heritage Wake Forest. It's actually located off of Rogers Road, which is where most of your shopping is going to be situated. 2 of the 3 main shopping centers within Heritage are going to be located in this area off of Rogers Road. Okay guys, I'm going to start out our driving tour of Heritage here in the Parkside section of Heritage Wake Forest. This is one of the original neighborhoods that was developed within the overall Heritage Master Plan community. The thing that you're going to want to know about this section of Heritage is the fact that it consists of 2 main streets that interconnect. There's Trentini Avenue and there's Stroud Circle. Another important thing to know about this section of Heritage is this is where the very first, the original swimming pool came in. It's actually called the Heritage Lake Pool. This is where the swim team will have all their practices and their meets. You've also got the tennis courts that are also located directly next to the swimming pool. During warm weather months, you're going to have a lot of people out. This is something else that's important to know about the swimming pool. You have HOA fees within the overall Heritage Master Plan community, but to actually join the swim and tennis club, that's a separate fee. The last time I checked, it's going to run you about $900, give or take, to join the swim and tennis club. Another important thing to know about the swim and tennis club, it's only open part of the year. I'm not completely certain about the tennis courts. You may be able to rent those year-round. I don't play tennis, but I'm pretty certain. I know that the swimming pool, you're only going to be able to go to the pool generally from right around Memorial Day through Labor Day. Okay, so within Heritage Parkside, you're going to have one main builder that completed this section of Heritage, McNeil Burbank Homes. The homes in here are mostly going to be 4-bedroom. I think in this entire section of the neighborhood, there may be 1 ranch home. Most of the homes in here that have been selling over the past 6 months or so have been selling anywhere in the neighborhood between $450,000 up to the high 4s. We haven't really seen anything go for in the 5s yet, but definitely with the rate of increases in Wake Forest, I can definitely see where homes are soon going to be probably selling within that price range. The situation within the Heritage Parkside community is pretty similar to every other area of Heritage and the Triangle in general, in the fact that most of the homes here that go on the market, they're literally gone within hours sometimes. The last home that sold within the Heritage Parkside neighborhood, it actually never even made it to market. There were tons of offers on it even before it went live for showings. I would say the majority of homes are going to be 4-bedroom. They're going to have pretty large bonus rooms over the garage area. The home sites within Heritage Parkside are going to range, I would say, between 1/4 and 1/5 of an acre. The lots aren't, huge, but they're pretty typical of the neighborhood. Most of the homes within the Parkside neighborhood are going to have screened-in porches, pretty decent decks. The homes on the Trentini side of Parkside are going to back up to the Smith Creek Greenway, which is a pretty nice selling point. Smith Creek Greenway is going to go all over a very sizable section of the town of Wake Forest. So you can literally walk out your back door, go around the corner, and you're going to be right in the Smith Creek Greenway. There's tons of soccer tournaments that they have back there. There's a playground, a small playground area. One other nice feature if you live on the Stroud Circle side of the Parkside neighborhood is the fact that there's weekly exercise classes that they have in the community center directly next to the swimming pool, which is pretty neat. Okay guys, this next neighborhood within Heritage Wake Forest is called Heritage Greens. It's a community that most of the homes were built in the early 2000s. It's going to be a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home. Most of these are going to measure out between 2,800 and 2,900 square feet in size. Over the last 6-month time period, there have only been 6 homes within this portion of Heritage that have sold. Like everything, it's pretty tight inventory right now. Not many homes go on the market. In this particular section of Heritage, when homes go on market, they typically sell within 2 days. The typical home within this area is the list price is generally around $419, $420. Within that 2-day sales period, most of the homes within here are going to typically sell between around $435, at least over the last 6-month time period. So as you can see, the typical resale home within here is selling, 15,000+ over list price. One thing you're going to want to keep in mind if you're considering this section of Heritage is the fact that it's located right off of Franklin Street. If you've seen many of my videos regarding the Holding Village neighborhood, it's actually situated directly across the street from Heritage Green. They are building a new phase of Holding Village that's currently under construction, and it's literally right across, I'm serious, it's right across the street. You do have construction traffic. It's not really bad because they have a separate construction entrance for that community. Once they completely build out Holding Village directly across the street, it will increase the traffic somewhat because Franklin Street is the only mode of entry and exit from this area. So there will be an increase in traffic. Also, Franklin Street is being extended to connect the northern section of Franklin Street, which goes into downtown Wake Forest, with the southern section, which is going to access Rogers Road area of Heritage, which is where your 2 of the 3 main shopping centers are located. It's also across the street from Heritage Middle School. Okay guys, next on our list of neighborhoods within Heritage is the Homestead Heritage neighborhood. This particular community was built around 2015. I think the last home that was finished in here was around 2017. Your typical home within this particular neighborhood is going to be 4-bed, 3-bath. Most have 2-car garages. Most are going to be 2-story. There's some ranches. There's a few like 1.5-story homes within here. The typical home is going to measure out at just under 3,000 square feet. Most are like 2,700 to like 2,900 square feet. Over the last 6-month time period, there's been only 7 sales within this particular part of Heritage. The typical resale home over here, the list price has been about $500,000. Most have sold about $15,000 above list price. So that's not unusual within Heritage, as you've seen with the other neighborhoods within the community that I mentioned. One really important thing that you're going to want to know about Homestead Heritage, this particular neighborhood is on a side of Heritage that is directly off of Rogers Road. I mean, it's directly off of Rogers Road. And there's a commercial component of Heritage that is between the neighborhood and Rogers Road. It's 3150 at Heritage. Within that particular commercial development, there's one really large commercial building. There's a lot of traffic around like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There's Staley's Academy, which is a private school. It lets out around 3 o'clock, so it's pretty congested with the fact you have the school letting out, in addition to just the regular traffic. One thing that people really like about Homestead at Heritage is the fact that you're literally next door to Heritage Middle School. From the neighborhood, you could probably drive to that school within less than a minute. Then also, just a little bit farther around the corner is Heritage High School, which you could be there easily within 5 minutes. As far as retail and shopping from this particular neighborhood, you're also just down the street from the Publix grocery store. Chick-fil-A's right down the street. There's quite a few retail options around here. Just around the corner, actually probably 7 minutes or so from this neighborhood, you've got a shopping center with Walmart and just tons of shopping. It's a pretty central location. If you want to be near a lot of activities, then this is a really good neighborhood to consider. There's a really popular preschool daycare that's literally next door to the neighborhood. Kids are kids, so it's very easy if you have daycare needs to leave the neighborhood and drop your kids off and take off for work. One other thing that you're going to want to consider, especially if you have older parents that need care, there's a senior living facility that directly borders this particular neighborhood. I think it's really important, if you have aging parents, that's an option. Also, right at the entrance to the neighborhood, there is a dentist. There's all kinds of personal care, doctor offices. You can literally just ditch your car in this neighborhood because there's so much conveniences right outside the entrance to the neighborhood. It's amazing. But again, you're just going to want to be aware that with that convenience, at times you're going to pay for it with congestion. Okay, guys. For our purposes of this video, this next section of Heritage, we're going to call Heritage North. This section of Heritage actually encompasses probably 5 different neighborhoods. Heritage Midlands, Heritage Landing, a couple of which are located within this section. Since this section of Heritage encompasses several neighborhoods, the prices are going to be pretty widespread. There's homes in here that have sold for $330,000, $350,000. There's also homes in this section of Heritage that sold for up to $875,000 within the last 6-month time period. Homes in here are going to range between 3 and 5 bedrooms. Your typical home within this section is going to be around 4 bedrooms, 3.5 to 4 baths. Over the last 6-month time period, the median list price of homes within this section of Heritage was $482,000. However, the median sales price, the price it actually sold for, is more like $524,000, $525,000. And again, like the rest of Heritage, the really shocker when you look at the sales data is the fact that of all those homes, the typical one sold in 1 day. If you're someone who's considered a 55+ senior living community, then this section of Heritage is definitely something I would consider, because you're going to find a lot of patio style homes within this section of Heritage where it's going to make it easy, like 1-story living, ranch home living. These patio style homes are going to be really convenient because you're next door to Gateway Shopping Center where you got Lowe's Foods. There's quite a few restaurants, retail options within that particular shopping center. One thing to keep in mind if you're considering this section of Heritage, with it being one of the original sections, it's going to border Heritage Lake Road, which, some people are going to say it's really busy. I mean, it is the main thoroughfare within the community, but depending on where your home is, you're really not going to notice it a whole lot. I will say I have heard from people that back up to Heritage Lake, although there's a buffer, some people can complain about hearing people with loud mufflers and that type of thing. So it's just something to keep in mind. One other thing to keep in mind in this section of Heritage, on the north side of this section, you're going to have the Gateway Commons that I just mentioned. On the south section of this particular area of the community, you're going to have the part of the golf course, which, you know, it's going to be pretty quiet. If you're looking for more of a custom built home, then this is going to be a really good area to consider. Back when they originally built this section of Heritage, I want to say there was at least maybe 5 to 7 custom home builders within this particular section. You're going to get a real craftsman feel to most of these homes. One really nice thing also with this section, with it being more of a craftsman build, you're going to get a lot of nice upgrades like stone facades in the front, metal roof accents. Along with that, if you're looking for a home with a 3-car garage, then this is also another neighborhood to consider. I also like the fact that in this section of Heritage, you're going to have, you know, some nice features like side load garages, and it's just a real custom built feel to it. One other neat aspect of the Heritage North section of Heritage is the fact that you're on a side of Heritage that's going to border the Highway 98 bypass. So it's pretty convenient for getting around Wake Forest. If you want to be able to leave your neighborhood and have access really quick to the major highway that runs through Wake Forest, and this is going to be another area to, you know, you're going to want to consider. There's a new Wegmans just right down the street. I mean, if you want to get to Wegmans from this area of Heritage, you're probably only you're definitely less than 10 minutes away. Okay guys, this next neighborhood that we're going to be highlighting is Heritage Bluffs. This is a section of Heritage that borders the 3rd and 4th hole of the Heritage Club golf course. This is a really established area within the neighborhood, within the master plan community. This was one of the original sections of Heritage to be developed back in the early 2000s. Your typical home within Heritage Bluffs was built back 2003, 2004. Over the last 6 months, your typical home out here is listed for around $575, with the typical home selling within 2 days for $625. So again, some crazy numbers there, but that's the reality of the Wake Forest Triangle real estate market right now. This section of Heritage is really unique. The topography on this side of the neighborhood is pretty diverse. You've got sloping hills. Right along hole number 3, there's a really cool cul-de-sac. The lots over there are pretty elevated. It's just a really unique landscaping scenery. On one side, you've got hole number 3. On the other side, you've got some really nice wooded lots. The whole neighborhood is pretty wooded, but especially in this section of Heritage. The one thing I will say, although it rarely snows in Wake Forest and pretty much in most of North Carolina, if you do buy a house in this section, keep in mind with it being pretty hilly, you're going to have some challenges when it ices up, snow weather. With Heritage Bluffs, you're going to be in an area, again, that's pretty centrally located within the Heritage overall community. You're going to be about halfway between NC 98 bypass and Rogers Road. So no matter which section of Wake Forest that you're going to be heading, you can get in and out at pretty much the same amount of time going either way. Also in Heritage Bluffs, within this section of the neighborhood, on one side there's 2 major shopping centers. One has a Harris Teeter grocery store, another Publix. And then on the opposite side, you've got Gateway Commons, which you have a Lowe's Food. In Heritage Bluffs, you're gonna again be like halfway between both. So again, this is pretty easy area to get in and out of if you need groceries or whatnot. Again, like some other areas of Heritage, there's a pretty wide disparity of what homes have sold for within this particular section. You've got homes that have sold like upper 4s. There's actually one that went for over $1 million. So definitely wide selection of home types. The design, the feel of the design here is going to be very similar. It's a traditional feel. You're not going to have any contemporary type builds or anything like that. So the whole neighborhood has a very cohesive feel to it, very traditional styling. If you're a golfer and you want to be close to the golf club, this would make an excellent selection for a home in Heritage, because you can actually walk to the golf club from here. You can carry your bags. A lot of people have their own golf carts, so you can drive right to the golf course and be there within literally 3 minutes. Or it's a swim and tennis club. Again, you're probably just under 5 minutes, depending on if you walk or if you drive. Again, this is a very central location within the community. Hey guys, if you're curious about what it's like driving through other areas of Wake Forest, then you're definitely going to want to check out my Wake Forest driving tour video. Just click the link above. If you're searching for a home in the Triangle area, there's tons of realtors to choose from. Why not choose one who's not only a local native, but one who's helped tons of families just like yourself relocate here from all over the United States? Families who decided that the smart move was to get Mike and get moved.